guys, and welcome to the Jessops YouTube channel. I'm Pete from the Academy team, and as you can probably tell, I'm at a racetrack. And we've been invited down here by Olympus to one of their touch and try days to get hands-on again with the E-M1X and put it through a thorough motorsports test. Focusing is really responsive. As soon as the cars are clearing the marshal's hut down there, having absolutely no trouble picking it up at all. The viewfinder's actually really good. Very little lag at all on it. Very bright, very clear. Everything feels really responsive. I don't feel like I'm looking at what's just happened, which is a notorious inherent problem with a lot of early mirrorless cameras anyway. I always found that when I was panning with a subject, the camera would finish here, but in the viewfinder I'm seeing what was happening back there. There's always that little delay. Certainly the E-M1X, the viewfinder is refreshing brilliantly. Really working well with that focusing system, snapping to everything and lovely and clear and bright. So folks, we've got a bit of a break in the on-track action, so I thought I'd give you a few minutes to talk about some of the features that I like so far about the E-M1X. To be honest, the key thing for me is always usability. It's always how the camera holds, handles. I want to feel comfortable using it, and the E-M1X absolutely ticks a box on there. It's got really nice, solid, fully weather sealed body as well, which for me is an absolute godsend. If I was working today, media side, it's a track side of the fence, and it absolutely lashed it down, I've got to stay out there. I want to know that my kit can cope with that. And previous experience with this camera, putting through its paces in a forest in the middle of Wales for some rally, got it absolutely soaked. I can absolutely say it really does stand up. Other things I really like about the camera, it's got an amazing autofocus system. The new tracking focusing that they've put on here, which I believe has got something like 121 autofocus points across the sensor, really is doing a brilliant job of identifying the cars, whether it be front, side or rear, tracking them through the frame as well, which is absolute godsend, making sure I can keep my eye on the right car within the sequence, not necessarily getting distracted by additional cars, which some focusing systems can tend to do. So the cars are coming back out now, which is quite a good thing. So one thing that's been really good about the camera so far, it's got a dual battery system, which is integrated into the Pro body, which I really like. Gives me full control no matter which orientation I'm using the camera. And the camera itself with that dual battery system will take over 2,000 images on an average day's use. So I'm really looking forward to, well, filling up the memory card, to be honest, and really seeing if I can rinse those batteries and get the most out of today. If you want to see more about the camera, find out all the ins and outs, the tech specs and the details, please visit the jessops.com website, or if you want to, look at our earlier video review of the E-M1X, where Mike put it through its paces up in Scotland and gives you a bit more insight into the technical data of the camera. So as you can probably tell, folks, we've changed locations again. The light's very high in the sky, so we've moved around into a bit of a shaded area, give us a bit of a breather, but also so we can work with the trees as a bit of a foreground subject. And one of the key features of this camera that enables us to be able to do this really is actually the 18 frames per second that the camera can deliver. Now, the tracking focus isn't really working because of the trees. There's too many obstacles. It's not really picking up the cars, which, to be fair, that's no discredit to the camera. You would expect that of absolutely any tracking focus system. So we've switched to manual focus for this. But the 18 frames per second allows me to continue to shoot bursts as the car's moving through the trees, creating this amazing motion blur. We're shooting down at sort of 60th of a second, 50th of a second at the moment. Again, this really nice dynamic blur to the shots. And what it's also allowing us to do is really test the dynamic range of the sensor. So we're working with some really dark shadowed areas in the foreground, and then we've got this really bright white spot out on the circuit, and it is amazingly bright. It's almost overexposing a little bit too much in some cases, so we're playing around with the exposure just to get that balanced. But in most of the frames that the E-M1X has delivered so far, the dynamic range has coped brilliantly from that darkest tone right through to that brightest tone. And on the E-M1X, it's not really blowing out the highlights compared to some of the cameras we're actually videoing on at the moment. So while we're talking about the sensor as well, one of the things I really like about the camera is the Micro Four Thirds system. Love it, hate it. I know it can be a little bit Marmite, but for me, one of the key features is the 2x crop factor. As a motorsports photographer, you know, lenses, optics, getting close to the action is essential. You know, and especially on a day like today, where we've been invited down by Olympus for this test and try day, we're working from the public areas rather than the media side of the fence. I need that little extra reach from the lenses, and with this 40 to 150, because of the 2x crop factor, I'm actually working with an 80 to 300, which is delivering me brilliant results, nice and tight, nice and close to the action, even though we're a good 120 meters away from the track here in these trees. So that crop factor is a really, really useful feature. So one thing that's just nearly caught me out, and I remember now this did this to me back in March when I used the camera as well. Looking through the viewfinder, I had a little bit of a panic moment thinking, hang on, I've used 50% of my battery already. We've only been out here shooting for, well, less than 2 hours really. And then it suddenly dawned on me, it's got a little 1 next to it. So what actually happens with the E-M1X, it shows you battery by battery the usage. So the 50% depletion that we've already got through is only on battery 1. So in theory, I've still got a completely charged battery and 50% of battery 1 still to go. And we've taken a fair few shots already. You know, I was starting to get a little bit of a panic on, thinking I was going to have to rinse my battery charger that I've got from my mobile phone. I've got one of the Viho Pebbles with me today. Carry it everywhere. It's great for charging myself phone-wise when I'm trackside. But because the USB-C charging on the E-M1X, I can also use it just to top this up if ever I get caught out. We've been shooting most of the day now at the test and try event here with Olympus. Really getting some really nice results with the E-M1X. But everything we've done today so far has been from a pro's perspective. So what we thought we'd do, and you may have noticed in the background to a lot of our shots, there's been this geezer with a strange cowboy hat. So we actually brought an amateur photographer along with us today, specifically for the purpose of giving you their opinion. So I'd like to introduce you to my dad. Say hello, Dad.
Hello, Dad.
He has been along to one of our Jessops Academy Motorsports workshops with me, just to learn a few do's and don'ts, as it were. So Olympus gave us both the E-M1X and the E-M1 Mark II, which Dad's been playing with to quite good success.
Relatively good success.
Relatively. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to swap over. We're going to give him the E-M1X. I'm going to play around with the E-M1 Mark II, and we're just going to see how we get on, and we'll get some of his thoughts in a second. Go on in.
Thank you.
All right, don't forget, press the big button.
Big button there.
The E-M1, the Mark II, it still feels really nice. The ergonomics are all a little bit more compact. So certainly for me, I've not got the smallest of hands, you know, and the grip's just not quite there. The back button focusing, which I use as a standard feature on all cameras, is very, very close to the viewfinder. As a left-eyed shooter, it's literally my thumb's on my nose, so could do with being a little bit further across. But I mean, other than that, the cameras are very, very similar. The focusing's just as quick on this without the advantage of the tracking. So the tracking on the E-M1X that Dad's playing with now instantly finds the subject, puts a frame around it, continues to keep it locked in terms of focus as it moves through the frame. This doesn't have that, so it's far more reliant on your movement, your continuous tracking of the subject. But other than that, the results very, very equal, to be honest. So go on then, how are you getting on with the tracking focus in comparison to the E-M1 Mark II?
Initially, it can be a little bit distracting.
Right.
However, I'm noticing that it's tracking the car faster than I'm panning.
Right, okay.
So in actual fact, it's showing me that I'm not keeping up with the traffic.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So it's actually helping me try and work and pan faster.
Yeah.
Which is obviously can't be a bad thing, because at least not all the shots will be blurred then when they get
No, true. And it's picking it up easy enough as they're clearing this sort of bunch of trees here?
As long as I make it past the tree, but it's a short window of time to try and get it. My lack of professionalism means that I'm missing some of them.
Okay.
But yeah, but it does, once it hits the car, like I say, it tracks the car faster than I'm panning, which is
So
helping me accelerate into the pan to try and
giving
keep
you
up.
that feedback of you're
Yeah.
not quite fast enough or you're too fast within the motion.
With that one,
Yeah.
if the focusing's out, because I'm not keeping up, I've got a really sharp back of the car, as we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And not a lot of action going on, or they've gone out of frame already. Or,
Okay.
So
It's almost like the E-M1X, a little bit more forgiving.
a little bit more forgiving, and it's targeting me where I need to practice that a little bit more as well, which
Okay.
can't be a bad thing, can it?
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a few more then. So Dad, you've had a bit of time with the camera now. What's your initial thoughts? How do you like it?
I quite like it. I think, like all pro cameras though, for somebody like me, it's got an awful lot of features that I don't really understand yet.
Yep.
However, having said that, everything is quite intuitive once you know where you're looking in the menu system and to set things up. And with your help today, I've even managed to take some half decent pictures.
Let's not get carried away.
With both cameras.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you've been using the E-M1 II an awful lot today.
Yeah. And finding a similar function on here, it's not in exactly the same place, and it's got some extra fancy stuff,
Yeah.
which at the moment is beyond my capabilities. But there again, they do make taking the picture easy.
Yeah.
The camera itself is very ergonomically balanced. Things are laid out a little bit neater, I think, on this one than on that one.
Yep.
They seem to fall to hand much better.
Yeah, the spacing, the ergonomics.
The spacing and ergonomics is very, very nice. So yeah, I quite like the camera.
Cool.
And I've enjoyed using it today, so
Yeah.
thank you very much to Olympus, and thank you very much for your tuition.
That's all right.
Like I say, I'm getting better. Yeah, I quite like it, yeah.
Okay guys, so I mean we're by no means done here today. We've got plenty of time left at the track with Olympus. Huge thank you to Olympus for inviting us down today to get hands-on with both the E-M1X and the E-M1 II. Been a fantastic day. Great to see some of the differences between the two cameras and how far the E-M1X has moved away for professional photographers like myself. I know my dad's had a great day. I'm going to thank him off screen when it's a little bit quieter. He's still quite happy playing with the E-M1X and learning his way around it and seeing how forgiving it is for him as an amateur photographer. But thank you very much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay up to date with all the latest notifications. Sweet.
Ooh, possibly. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Always spot 'em.